Today's show is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Now, more than ever, our internet reliance is rapidly increasing. We stream our favourite shows, keep in touch with loved ones, and even watch podcasts like this one. See, makes sense, it's linked into the podcast. We prefer to think our information is safe, but as our online footprint increases, so does our need for proper security. That's where Surfshark VPN comes in. They protect your information by encrypting all the data you send through the internet, keeping anyone unwanted from seeing it. Another great reason to use a VPN is because the content from streaming services can be restricted based on what country you're in. So that could be Netflix, Amazon Prime, even some of the highlights on Twitter. You click on it, not available in your country. Well, Surfshark helps you out with that by simply changing your location. Also, you go abroad, you want to keep watching iPlayer, you want to keep watching British stuff, you can do. Change your location back to where you've left, and you can keep watching all of that. Right now, Surfshark has an amazing offer on by clicking the link in the description, using the code Paddock, see it there, look, Paddock, like Stretford Paddock, that's why we use the word Paddock, you'll get 83% off. Which means for something like a couple of quid a month, you get fully protected. 83% off, that's basically all of it off. 83%, plus you'll get 3 months for free, and Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Use the link in the description, use code Paddock for 83% off, 3 months free, and 30-day money-back guarantee. Don't get better than that.
JF Stretford Paddock, this is the Paddock Podcast, and I'm joined by two of my favourite co-hosts, because not guests, the co-hosts, we're in this together. Mr. Joe Smith.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm already lamenting the fact you're not going to be here all week.
I know.
Because you're going away, aren't you, for a few days, which is unheard of on this channel.
I know.
This is literally like the Joe Smith channel, because you're on it every day.
Holiday.
And I'm getting, the sort
It's
of
international break.
penalty shootout nerves at the prospect of Joe not being
stand
here.
outside until I get back.
I can't cope. And also, Mr. James Young, how are we doing?
Never been happier.
Is that true?
You look it as well. You look over the moon, ecstatic. How have you been?
Whereabouts are you off, Jack?
Oh,
Rome,
sorry,
yeah.
go on then.
Rome, yeah.
Yes, the City of Angels, as they call it.
Yes.
It's a good time to go now because it's less touristy.
Italy.
Yeah.
Less touristy, I hate tourists.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to
Yeah.
Rome as an English person. That'd be great. Hope there's no tourists there.
Do you know what? This is what always annoys me, right? Because you could go to Rome and you could decide to go and visit a football.
Should
ground.
roam around, as they say.
Stop
Nice.
him. Stop him. Stop him.
I like it. You can visit a football stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you might ask directions. Yeah? You might go, I'm going to go and watch, Lazio or whatever.
Wow. If you're not a massive racist, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You can still watch them.
Yeah.
Just because you watch a Nazi documentary doesn't make
Yeah.
you part of the SS.
So you go, excuse me, can you help me tell me the way to the ground? And people might go, yeah, no worries, it's that way. But when you see people around Manchester,
Yeah.
tourists asking the way at Old Trafford, people can be dead moody with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, oh, look at the state of this? And I think, well, have you never been abroad and gone to a football stadium?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And
look
they
at
probably
these
speak the language
tourists.
better than we do going there.
Like, what is
Yeah.
the issue with someone wanting to go and visit Old Trafford whilst they're in Manchester? There's not even a game on today. Oh, yes, because you only go to a football stadium when there's a game on.
Yeah.
It just really annoys me because I think, like, I've done that loads of times. You go, where you think, oh, go and check out the stadium.
We're going to go to the Colosseum for. There's no gladiators there. The next one's not for another minus 2,000 years. Like, what are you on about? I want to go see it.
Oh, I said it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what has that achieved other than making you like the knobhead that you are? Sorry.
I feel like Jay's been pointed the wrong way to Old Trafford.
No,
at some
I
point
remember
as
having a
well.
rami mate who did it once, and he thought he was dead clever. I was just like, you're just a muppet. Like, that wasn't
You're
funny.
just being a bit of a knob.
Yeah, and I mean, ended up rowing and arguing. I had to shout him back and tell him the real way.
Oh, really?
It's like my mum was in Manchester the first time on the weekend for like 14 or 15 years or whatever, and I was telling her how much it's like changed in that. And literally 5 minutes of her arriving, some smackhead went, "Oh, have you got any weed?" And she said no, and he called her like a racist. And it's like, "Oh, welcome back."
See, hey,
That's what you want
Yeah.
from a destination holiday.
exactly.
Ask for some weed and
Authentic.
be called a racist.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are going to be talking about a host of topics, including the managerial race, if you can call it that, on the candidates who are likely or looking likely to succeed. Ralph Ragnick, there's a few names that keep getting bandied about, so we'll get into all that. I mean, you can see some of them, I think behind me. Go on.
Do you know what I'd absolutely love? If we did this like an election. Where it's like we got it down to Ten Hag. We do the sort of the preliminary
primaries.
We do the primaries.
Yeah.
So that's where you get rid of your Enrique's, your Zidanes, maybe your Ancelotti's. Once we've got it down to Ten Hag and Pochettino, TV debates. But we know you both want it.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get sacked by PSG.
Yeah.
You're leaving Ajax by all accounts. Let's get them both on telly. Get Stephen Howson asking him the real questions. That's what I want to know. Are you a fraud? Questions like all these
Stephen
Twitter
Howson
questions.
telling them where they've gone wrong in a managerial career.
How would you beat
Hey.
Moston Brooks low block?
Exactly, that's what that'll be. Stephen Howson shouting at him. How him and Fabrice Muamba have taken Stretford Paddock FC to the summit of their league.
Which one of you two is more likely to manage Stretford Paddock FC on an interim basis? Right, you're not getting the job then, Maurizio. F off.
So I'm thinking like Luis Enrique is like Bernie Sanders here. He's too good for us, or he's been defeated in the primaries.
Right, okay.
He doesn't really have the sort of the actual popularity to get elected, even though he's really good. And then you've got other people in there, like your joke candidates, like Phil Neville. He's been like ruined before the start. He's just out.
Who's Pochettino? I think he's Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Very much a known quantity.
Yeah.
Been around for years.
Part of the firm.
Not particularly inspiring, but you just feels like it's inevitable.
Yeah,
but
there's
maybe
a feeling.
not.
Yeah, or could it all
Yeah.
go
And
wrong?
who's Ten Hag?
Ten Hag would be like...
He wouldn't be Biden.
I think he'd be more like Obama.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago, wasn't really known.
Hope.
Yeah,
There is hope with
and he
Ten
came
Hag.
onto the
Yeah,
stage,
yeah,
and all
yeah.
of a sudden, everyone's like, "Who's this guy? This guy's ideal."
Wow,
And
look at his
everyone-
track record.
Yeah.
He hasn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah, everyone loves him, and it's like, actually, okay, then we don't know a lot about him, though, do we? But yeah, I think that's how it goes down. So we'll be getting into that. We'll also be looking at we've signed someone.
Good.
A youngster. I spoke about this morning in the news. We'll talk about a little bit about that as well. And Gary Neville has been firing shots at players.
outside hotel football on the rooftop.
Yes, he's got his rifle out,
Sniper.
Yeah.
doing what he likes to do best. Well, I won't say he does it best, but he likes to have a go at players and people when they're not sort of staggering down the road, sobbing hysterically after a United loss.
Taking,
Is this not like the front cover
Yeah.
of Platoon?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to know. Every Man United player should be permanently on their knees, weeping to the gods.
I went to the shop the
until
other
they win
day.
game.
So
Yeah.
Eric Bailly buying a pint of milk after we'd drawn with Watford.
I
The
slapped it out of his hand and
fraud.
said, "No tea for you, Eric!
Get
You'll
out.
have water and gruel until the tile is lifted again! Gary Neville has spoken!" Gee, how dare he have a Freddo on his walk home from the shop?
Game
Shame
job.
on you!
That's why the club's in the doldrums.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what I'm talking about. You never got that in my day.
No.
Hey, if we lost the game, we didn't eat for a month.
Exactly. And that was right.
Just taking pops at people on the stadium tour walking past on hotel football. You don't understand the United
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
You weren't here in 1994.
Ethos! It's the ethos!
Well, were you in the Youth Cup semi-final in 1992?
Exactly. Yeah, he was there in the trenches.
So,
So
to be fair, Gary Neville has done a lot of good things for Man United, so we should listen to what he says, probably.
he should, but he's not
You'd have to
beyond
agree with
the
it.
reproach.
No.
So
Also
you
got,
can you can disagree with him. So we'll
a
talk
very
about
nice portfolio of real estate as well around Manchester that he's acquired.
that.
Interesting.
Yes.
I like I say acquired, like it was the Swiss getting
Yeah.
Nazi gold. Like, I think he bought it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like, who's the owner of that real
Yeah.
estate recently been sent away for war crimes? I'll take
But
that. I
it's
don't think that's happened.
it's property, isn't it? So technically, who owns property?
God.
Yeah.
Next.
Exactly.
Next question.
He's
Easy.
done well for a property magnate to paint himself as a socialist, with no socialist credentials really whatsoever, other than kind of organising a strike once that didn't really happen.
And
go on.
Turn Moss as well, which was not exactly a very nice idea.
Well, there you go. You see. So
And if that isn't damning, I don't know what is.
There's
Not
more where that
exactly a
came
very
from.
nice idea. James Young, 2022.
also we've been linked with someone else to join the backroom staff. Well, two more people, because the answer to our problems is more people in the back room.
Yeah.
That is where we're going wrong. We haven't got enough of them.
Yeah.
So there's another kid called Andy O'Boyle. I've never heard of him.
That's a
Apparently
made-up
he's a Scouser.
name.
Andy O'Boyle.
Andy O'Boyle. Honestly, they're just like, you know,
I read it here on a piece of paper
when you
or
get
on a
too
screen.
far into the future on like Football Manager or FIFA,
Yeah.
and it just like generates random people. That's
Yeah.
basically what United are doing now.
Yeah, definitely.
Andy O'Boyle, well, according to this newspaper, I mean, I've never heard of him, but he's in the running to be assistant to the regional manager. Assistant to the director of football.
Any relation to Pete or?
I don't think
No.
so. I mean, I don't know. He may be a fictional character. We will find out.
let's
So
get
we're
started.
going to get into all that. Right. First of all, let's have some comments, eh? Tom Marshall says, doesn't matter who we bring in, whilst the Glazers even still own us. With that in mind, I want Ten Hag, UTFP, Glazers out.
Don't matter who we bring in, as long as we bring in Ten Hag, which is what I want.
Yep.
It don't matter anyway, but if it did, that's who I want.
If it did.
Peter Kelly says, welcome back to Twitter, Jay. Thank you, Peter. It was a long 2 hours.
Oh yeah, you were suspended, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Copyright infringement.
A daddy long-legs coming down on a string
Copyright
of web.
infringement, and I had to, send a few strongly worded emails, a few begging messages to people.
Did you?
Yeah.
Copyright infringement. What did you do? You uploaded a full
It
series
was a
of On
picture.
the Busters
Did
again.
you watch
didn't
it? Yes.
Ever seen this? It's wicked.
Have you ever seen Lawrence of Arabia? Well, now you're going to watch it.
Laurel and Hardy.
In these series of tweets.
Yeah.
But no, I did a video of Lacazette acting like an hard man and getting pushed over by someone in the game against Villa. And obviously, I knew when I did it, I thought I shouldn't be doing this. BT in it, they're always a bit funny. And then
But couldn't you have done the thing, when you copied the tweet?
yeah, I should have done. I got lazy because I was in the middle of something and it was my own fault. So yeah, thanks for all your support during what was a very difficult time.
You thought you were untouchable, didn't you, Jay?
I did. I
Like,
thought I
like
was
Mr. Big of some sort
Teflon
of Twitter
Don.
gang.
Yeah, I thought it was. What's that guy? He was a guy, John Gotti. I thought it was like him.
Yeah.
Or Boris Johnson.
Like Jim Falson, who just posts the same joke over and over again and gets the same likes and
Yes,
retweets.
do you know what I mean?
Like his average book about politics.
Interesting.
It's
Dick,
like-
an actual person that's probably, listening.
Nashville, who's been a member of the first team for 10 months, says, I'd like to watch Joe do a filibuster speech in US Congress in which he goes over a list of 800 odd right backs and why Man United shouldn't buy them. That's a great idea. If you had to filibuster something, what speech would you give? What would you talk about?
I don't know, but what I will say is I would do it in the style of Just a Minute as well, where I'm not allowed to repeat myself. No repetition, you can't pause, you can't repeat yourself and any of that. So I not
That's
only
quite
would I do
difficult.
15 hours, I wouldn't say the same word twice.
Can't be ermine as well.
And I wouldn't pause, or but. Absolutely not at
Wow,
all.
you are giving yourself a massive
Quite
task.
the
If you had
task,
to do a filibuster speech, if you had to speak for hours just to waste time in Congress.
Probably about the Walker's Flavour Cup of 2009 and how Builders Breakfast won it despite it not being the best flavour. This is why we can't have democracy, because what happens is...
We can't have democracy.
This
is James's run to be the leader, the grand leader of Stretford Paddock. There shall be no democracy.
We're not having democracy anymore. We tried that experiment and it failed.
We tried that experiment for the last 2,000 years and we didn't like it.
Look where it got us.
Yeah, the Greeks. Sick of them. Romans, out of here.
We can't have nice things.
Yeah, Ottoman Empire. See you later.
So what you're advocating is just the totalitarian regime.
Well, I mean, as the
great Mussolini once said.
That's one way of putting it.
As Super Hans famously said.
Right.
No, go on. I like this. Go
People
on.
like
fight them on the beaches.
People like Coldplay and voted for the Nazis. So.
Can't trust people. That's very true.
I met the man on the street, and he's a massive C word, as I think Johnny Rotten said.
See?
Well, you can't argue with that. People getting quite serious about our political analogies
It was
when
a
we were
joke.
talking about not that about the managers. Some people not happy with Barack Obama. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
at least Ten Hag can't deport loads of people from England.
Oh, drone strikes.
Anyway, let's move on.
See what I mean? We tried to do something and we just it's always bad again with Ease on here as well because he just encourages me.
What a strike!
Right.
Right,
Oh my
on we
God.
go.
Please.
Next topic.
Can we stop with the words? Right. Come on, people. Let's get it together. We're talking about managers.
Manchester United Christmas bowling event's a
No,
bit different this
stop
year.
it.
This is without Macca and Howson. You two met him in a safe pair of hands. Right, let's move on. Or let's carry on talking about the subject we're meant to be talking about. The next United manager, who do you want and why?
Ten Hag seems to be the most exciting, doesn't he? He's the one with, like we said before, the Obama analogy, if you were to allow that to,
Without
flourish.
At the time, should we say,
Yes.
before we know what he was going to get
that's
up
what I'm
to,
saying.
yeah?
Yeah, in 2008, he was a fresh face. He brought with him no baggage, no look what he's been doing for the last 30
A
years.
bit like Tony Blair.
In 97, not a
in
bad shout
97,
out.
yeah. New Labour.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of we're doing things a bit differently. Whereas Poch has that, it just has that, we know what you are.
Yeah, he's Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
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 That's-
We know
yeah.
what he is. He's okay. He's a decent manager. He's managed some good players, good teams, and done all right with all of them. He's never done anything where you go, wow, I can't believe he did that. And I know that Ten Hag has if he'd maybe won the Champions League with Ajax, you could really put him in that category with, Jose at Porto and say he's done something incredible. But what he's done is he's taken Ajax from being obviously one of the most famous and richest teams in the Netherlands But he's just made them a machine again, where they lose their players because they are still in the 5th richest league in Europe. I think it's the 5th richest. They lose their players to richer teams and they replace them, and the system continues and the style continues, and they have pieces that slot into positions rather than let's build everything around one player. Oh no, he's shit. Oh no, he's left. Oh no, he's holding us to ransom over his contract. We can't do that anymore. He has systems and structures that players fit into, like all of the top teams do these days. Look at City. They've got a rotational cast of about 16, 17 players that play any given week, and they all do basically the same job as the rest of them when they switch in and out. Look at someone like Mahrez, not even guaranteed to start every week, and yet when he does, can easily be their best player on a day. United 100%. At the minute, we've got about 6 players that are in form, and everyone else is trying to do their own thing. I think Ten Hag comes in and he brings a structure and a style that not only he can bring, but also that he sticks to and that he has to stick to. United needs to establish a style as a club and bring in managers that fit that style, and then that manager brings in players that fits that style as well. It needs to be from the top down, and I think Ten Hag's the best chance we've got.
Well, you saw how comfortable it was for City on the weekend against Southampton. Even when it was 1-1, it was like, well, we've got like 3 or 4 other players we can just bring on here, and they ended up, it was like 4-1 in the end. United just don't have that, and I don't think they're going to unless the, like you're saying, the structure's in place for that to happen.
Yeah.
Are you Ten Hag? Is it your choice as well?
Yeah,
it seems to be the most popular from people I've spoken to.
I've kind of been saying this, that whoever United bring in, I just think the same issues are going to still be there. So it's almost, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but ultimately, if Richard Arnold's the same as Ed Woodward, which I hope he isn't, and hopefully he's trying to sort things out, then I'm not really sure what's going to happen, because if he does try and rebuild the team, he'll get to 2 or 3 years down the line where he won't be able to sign the players that he wants to. There'll be other situations and politics going on, and he'll finish 2nd or 3rd, maybe with 1 trophy, but then the whole thing will just reset itself again, because I just don't think, unless there's major changes at the club, that anyone that's going to come in is just going to keep on facing the same issues.
What do you think, Jay? Who do you want, and do you think they can be successful?
I want Ten Hag, and I've been saying this for a little while. I don't know a lot about him. I know his record. I think when I was looking into it, because I made the assumption myself, you just go, oh, Ajax, yeah, you win the league every year and all that, but you don't, do you? And they didn't until he got there. I think they had a few years, didn't they, without winning it?
Well, PSV had Depay and a couple of players like that in that team before he came in. So.
And he sort of, then they went, I think, 4 years without winning it. Then he kept winning it, and I think they missed out 1 year because of COVID, but he's won it and did the double as well a couple of times. Like you say, he got to the Champions League semi-final. All right, you make your own luck, but very unlucky there. Was flying in the group stages this year, won in the Champions League, and then
won every game.
And then it's just sort of it went. The wheels came off against Benfica.
Benfica are not a bad team.
No, that's not a criticism. He's raised the bar there for them now. Anywhere, if they don't win the league and they don't do well in Europe, people are going, well, what's gone wrong there? Yeah. Whereas when he got there, they weren't winning the league. So and like you say, he rebuilt that team, which impresses me. You're losing the likes of De Jong, you're losing Van der Beek, you're losing De Ligt, you're losing Ziyech, and then you're rebuilding again very quickly and still going and still doing that, because whoever comes in has a rebuilding job to do. And it's like, I don't like Ancelotti. He's the most successful candidate available. He's won the lot. He's won it on all different levels. He's won it at different countries. He's won 3 Champions Leagues. It's obviously, you can't.
He's one of the best managers ever, isn't it?
You can't scoff at his record. It's phenomenal. It really is. But you're thinking, okay, and it sounds daft because, he's doing well at Real Madrid, but is there a little bit of, it's just more short-termism, it's more a manager who's not quite at the peak of his powers?
Van Gaal had that, and Mourinho had that as well. United have tried that before, and I think the thing is, especially with United, is that, managers at Real Madrid will rarely stay longer for 3 or 4 seasons before Perez has enough of them, and I think the issue is at United, they can't have a manager like Ancelotti that'll come in like Mourinho will. Yeah, he might win stuff, but there'll still be another 3 or 4 years after that the mess will have to be picked back up again, and it'll just take longer.
On that point then,
yep.
All of the managers that were brought in to be more long-term, maybe other than Van Gaal winning the FA Cup, have won nothing at United since Fergie left. So Moyes was set to be long-term, won nothing. Van Gaal was set to be long-term, yes, he won the FA Cup, so fair enough. Ole was set to be long-term, won nothing. The only real manager that's won multiple trophies is Jose. Are we not better, and I don't agree with this, but do you think there's a case to be made that getting someone more short-term, where we actually might win a trophy here or there, is better than, is the only way to win things under the Glazers? Do you think we can be a long-term vision team and be successful with it?
I've thought in the past that maybe being short-term isn't that bad a deal, because we've sort of become that anyway, as you said that. I just feel like now we're so far behind. It reminds me a little bit of Klopp at Liverpool, where you might need someone to come in and go, look, this ain't a quick fix. This isn't Jose coming in, buying a load of players and you're going to win some trophies. You're so far behind the likes of Chelsea, City and Liverpool. It's going to take a few seasons, and he can do that. I think that's what my question isn't whether he can do it or the board. A lot of it is the fans, and I include myself in this. If 2 seasons in we're sat in 5th, are people going to go, okay, just give him a bit another year? We can see what he's trying to do. Or people are going to go, no, we're not in the Champions League. It's been a disaster. Get rid of him, because there will be a reaction. And fans, we're in that grey area. A lot of us are old enough to remember Sir Alex and all the riches we had, and we're still a club that's got money and stuff. So we expect success, but we're nowhere near where we used to be in short term. Well, last sort of 9 years, we've not really been in the title race, other than since we won it, we've not really been in the title race. I know we finished second, but were we ever really in a title race in those 2 seasons when we finished second?
Well, not particularly.
Not really. So it feels a bit odd. Personally, I would give Ten Hag time. I just don't know if everyone else will, and that's not a criticism of fans because I get it. I just feel like that's the big question: is can we be patient with him?
And I agree. That's a big problem. But could we not argue that we didn't give Ollie time? When the first real sustained period of bad results, and obviously we had that one at the end of the first season, but that was so close to what was an incredible period of results. The first real, we might not finish top 4 properly set of results under Ollie, we got rid of him. I know losing 5-0 to Liverpool is hard to come back from, but what if that happens under Ten Hag?
I think there wasn't. You know what? You're right. I think the problem with Ollie was the nature of those results. I think losing to Liverpool at home isn't the end of the world. It's horrible, but it's happened before. It's happened under Fergie. So, that to get battered, be losing 4-0 at half time is unreal. The way we lost to Watford, who were probably going to get relegated, was abysmal. The fact that City turn up and just treat it like a training game, it's horrible. And as a fan, I loved Ollie for a multitude of reasons. But you stood there and against Liverpool, I was thinking, this is over. This isn't working.
It was the way in which it capitulated as well, because United have lost heavily to Liverpool before under Fergie and to City. But I remember when they lost to Liverpool, I think it was 3 or 4-1 in 2009. They still won the title that season.
Yeah, you're right.
And under Fergie, what was it, 4 or 5-1 against 6-1 against City at home.
Yeah.
But before that as well, one of Fergie's earlier seasons, I think City beat United. Was it 4 or 5-1?
5-1 at Main Road. But the funny thing with that is the 5-1 at Main Road. He was under pressure. Fergie was under serious pressure, but he won the FA Cup that year to buy him some time.
Yeah, my big worry is most United fans or most United fans that are in and around our age, even up to the age of sort of 40, 50, don't really have a great memory of pre-Fergie days.
Yeah,
and we're so used to the lows being so much higher than everyone else's lows. Like the worst it got under Fergie, since we won the league, was finishing 3rd.
Yeah.
Like, are we really prepared to take? We finished 2nd, we finished 7th, we finished 4th, we finished 3rd, we finished 1st. Are we prepared for that trajectory?
I'm kind of used to it now, though.
But are you?
Yeah, because I haven't seen that. I've seen United win, from my memory, 2 league titles.
Yeah.
So the Atletico game was genuinely the first knockout game in the Champions League I've been to with United. Because it's been so crap the past 5 or 6 years.
But maybe
really.
if the average age of fans at the game was, how old are you, 20?
Yeah, 19.
19.
Yeah.
If the average age of fans at the game was 19, maybe that would be the perception. But the average, what is it? Is it late 40s, isn't it? In the 50s, I think the average age of a Premier League fan. So they do expect that. And that's my worry, like you said, the fans is, can we have a fully regressing season where it's actually got worse for a year and still stick with the manager? And does a few titles in the Dutch league keep enough money in the bank to ride that storm? I don't know if it does.
Because Klopp was, people forget this. Klopp was under a bit of pressure at one point.
Yeah.
I remember the time when we drew 0-0 with Jose at Anfield. I think we'd have won that game. Might have been a different story in terms of the pressure on him.
But again,
because people going,
yeah, sorry,
I think they had 1 win in 9 games or something going into that game. They'd lost the League Cup final, lost the Europa League final. So it wasn't like he had much in the bank as a Liverpool manager to go, look, this is what I'm doing. I still think he was quite popular in his attitude and his persona.
I think that's
that carried him a little bit.
And everyone under 40 doesn't really remember Liverpool being successful at that time.
And also,
now,
he then went to the Champions
League final. If you're 20, you remember league titles.
The rest was history for him. And I feel like, with Ten Hag, sometimes it's just that thing of keeping yourself going. That I think you always said it, Joe, and I think you have as well. You were there. If he'd have won in Gdansk, maybe he gets a little bit more time.
That's when it turned. A lot of the people that I knew that were there were like, that's it.
Because Fergie won the FA Cup and then didn't have it all his own way the next season. I think we finished 6th, but we won the Cup Winners' Cup. But it's like, if you've got a trophy, Arteta won a trophy at Arsenal, and he buys himself a bit of patience when he finishes 8th.
Yeah.
So we go, he's won silverware. Give him a little bit of time. He's for them, he's a club legend. and all this. Where Ollie didn't have that. He had more questions.
I think it's because of who it was against as well. I know they beat Juventus and they got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, but if it was a bigger team, maybe like a Sevilla or an Inter or someone like that, then there could have been a bit more respect. But I think the way that Villarreal were portrayed a lot in the media, where they were these plucky team from Valencia that didn't really know why they were in the final, and it was like almost expected that United were going to win. I mean, I had stuff lined up and people were saying to me, well, can you send videos in of United winning the trophy? Because it was just expected that it was going to happen. And when they did,
you know what? Shades of 2018 night in the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
I know it was Chelsea, but everyone was like, oh, we'll do these. Look at how many points we finished above them and all this. You know what I mean? And it was like...
You saw in BT's coverage after the game, it was like, well, shit, what are we going to do now? Like,
now what?
Yeah.
This wasn't meant to happen.
Abhinav Verma in the chat says, Carlo would only raise his eyebrows in the debate. Very good. Callum Shahidi says, we should have kept Ollie. We made real progress under him. A cup final that was lost on the last kick of the season and back-to-back top 4 finishes. Again, I just feel it was like the nature of these losses this season. It wasn't the fact that we lost to these games. It was the way we were losing. It looked like he'd lost everyone.
The Watford game especially.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying we should have kept him. I was saying,
no, it's a fair
if
question.
a similar thing happens under a manager that we fundamentally have more faith in, will that faith be enough to keep him through the hard times?
Just on the sort of managerial thing and the backroom staff, there's this story that's doing the rounds about a lad called Andy O'Boyle. I mentioned him earlier, and the news is that United, as in EYE, ex-Liverpool coach. You've already lost me. You've lost the room. Andy O'Boyle for their new deputy director of football role, with the Red Devils hoping he can help John Murtaugh with the mammoth task of returning the club to its former glory. So we're looking for a deputy director of football.
Deputy director of football.
I mean, I don't know anything about this guy, Andy O'Boyle, other than the fact that he's an ex-Liverpool coach. It seems like, there's lots of rumours. Is it the lad from Monaco who's just been sacked? Paul Mitchell. Yeah. And there's talk of maybe him coming in as some sort of role. They've already got John Murtaugh there. You've got Darren Fletcher there. Ralph Ragnick's going to become a consultant. The new manager, whoever that may be, is probably going to bring in at least one of his own coaches. Do you know what I mean? Is there not a danger here we're going to have more people behind the scenes than actually on the pitch for us, and that's not healthy?
Well, we went from, for the longest time, basically having Ed Woodward doing everything, and then like Matt Judge tickling a few bollocks during transfer negotiations, to now we've got like a full like match attacks sticker book full of, which one is he? He's on page 18. He's in the subcategory, directors of sport or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, we're getting a bit sort of too many directors of football spoil the broth.
Well, it's like, do you remember when United claimed they had like 200 scouts or whatever it was?
Yeah.
It's a similar sort of thing.
I mean, it does get a little bit.
Do you know when United signed Wan-Bissaka from Woodward was like, we've been through 200 fullbacks.
800?
800. And this is the best one.
Yeah. Like the most obvious one that everyone said you should get.
Yeah.
You've gone through 800 to get to the point where you're spending 50 million quid on the one that was literally man of the match against us a year ago.
Just because, it's obvious doesn't mean we haven't done our research.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do wonder about all that, because at some point you think it's just becoming this big sort of bloated operation where we're just, dishing out responsibility. The more people that are in there, the more people that need to be good at this job.
Yeah.
And already I don't know how many are good at it. And now we're expecting 8 people to be really good at their job.
I would have loved to be mates Ed Woodward at uni.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is that another thing that's, jobs for the boys and all that? I don't know. Santa Not says we should have lost to Celta Vigo, a team worse than Villarreal under Jose. Only did as well as we did because Zlatan still finished a pathetic 6th. I remember that. DB Cooper says I'm down with Paul Mitchell as long as we don't have to get Poch. Sean says Joe's shirt looks like wallpaper from a 70s hotel in Missouri. It's very specific, isn't it?
Which hotel, mate?
Yes, you can let us know the hotel.
Well,
and also,
down,
the 70s is very broad. That's a 10-year sort of...
The 1970s.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Where was it from?
Thanks.
It was from the 1970s hotel in Missouri.
Yeah.
Do hit like. I mean, the fact is, I don't think any of us, I've just looked on his LinkedIn, he doesn't tell me anything. Right. He's head of elite performance in the Premier League from 2017.
But in my head, right, head of elite performance, you're the manager of the team then, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, the person that is the head of the highest end performance in a football club Is the
Well,
manager?
he's had a
So
league
it's
performance
not?
in the Premier League. He was at Liverpool
that
for
mean?
5 years. Exactly. For 5 years, 10 months. And he kind of left when the going got good, to be fair to him. Like, I don't know.
Coincidence?
Like, I don't know. Like, he's left just before they started winning things.
Yeah.
He was the,
Sold him and bought loads of inhalers. That's
yeah,
what they did.
exactly.
He's in the Eric Ramsey club.
They swapped
Yeah.
him for Mo Salah. He was the under-21 physical performance coach.
The word
for a year.
performance is so heavily littered throughout this man's
Yeah.
CV. You'd assume he had a job by now, wouldn't you?
He was head of sports science at Coventry City Football Club. He waited on tables at Witherspoons, and he didn't really.
James, leave it. Wetherspoons, I've been there.
And he's got
They
2 weeks.
They do a great shepherd's
2
pie.
weeks experience at his local newspaper.
Good lad.
So you can understand why his CV has caught the attention of Manchester United.
It's very Red Bull, isn't it?
Yeah.
Performance.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Ralph Ragnick, that whole operation that he had a lot of scouts, a lot of analysis, all those sort of people, a lot of backroom staff, sort of Moneyball type things.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it does feel a little bit like, what are all these people doing, and is this helping us, and who are these people? Are they qualified? And I just feel like, yeah, it's just worrying. I think everything at United at the minute is worrying, and I'll just feel a lot better when we know who the next manager is going to be. I mean, it looks like Ten Hag is the favourite, but you don't know that, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was a Pochettino, because like you said earlier, Joe, he has been linked with us, and if it is he bringing in his own people on? Is Andy O'Boyle and Paul Mitchell and all these other people being linked with it still going to come in? Is Ralph Ragnick going to have much of a say on what's going on?
What does Peggy Mitchell have to say about all this?
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean?
Paul Mitchell's mum.
Yeah.
Or is it Dimitri, the former United academy player?
Ah, yes. Yeah. Dimitri Mitchell and Grant Mitchell, of course, is the obvious one, isn't it?
Paul. Phil Mitchell.
Phil
Yeah.
Mitchell.
Billy
Yeah.
Mitchell.
Exactly. So,
Sean. No, it's the person.
Sean
Just made him
Mitchell.
up.
Sean Mitchell.
Google Sean Mitchell.
Don't Google Sean Mitchell. Don't let him tell you what to do.
I'm
Jake.
not going to. Should we move on
Google
to
Sean
something...
Mitchell, just someone you went to school with.
Something happier than the disarray behind the scenes. And that's we signed a young lad called Toby Collyer from Brighton. 3.5-year deal running to the summer of 2025. I've got a few sort of stats about him here. He's defensive midfielder, has played at centre-back. He's captained England at under-16 and under-17s level. Only played once this season, for Brighton under-18s. Impressed on a trial at Carrington last month. Caught the Ivy United scouts playing in a friendly against Huddersfield Town. Seems like, it's a bit of a tap-in, really, in the case of you buying a young lad, and if it doesn't work out, you've not exactly
Well, also
spent a
United
fortune
can basically just,
or you just sign him, not buying.
United can sign young players, and they can't play a game for United, and then they can just sell them on for 4 or 5 times the price, basically. So
It's kind of the MO for a
Yeah.
lot of clubs, isn't it, if you're looking at it.
it's a bit of a sort of twisted system when you look at it like that. It's
Yeah.
like you take these people that are children, basically, like 14, 15, have them for like 4 years, and then they never even play for you, and you just sell them for like 3 million.
Just NFTs, in it?
Basically.
Non-footballing
yeah.
teenagers.
There's a quote from Ralph Ragnick that sort of ties into this. He said about he's talking about transfer strategy. He said it's about having a clear transfer strategy and signing players who fit into the system, and that's what both clubs, in talking about City and Liverpool, have been doing in the last 5-6 years. If I look at the transfer policy and their transfer success, they haven't had many players who people would say that wasn't the right signing. Both clubs, have been pretty successful, and this is where Manchester United have to go again. Do you feel like we need a change in transfer strategy? Because we've been very much short term, haven't we, really? I mean, Jadon Sancho, okay, he's a bit younger, but some of the signings we've made have purely been for like 1 or 2 seasons. Like,
Are we sticking with the political statement? You sort of remind me of, like, when like Labour went more towards the centre and they sort of got loads of focus groups to sort of get really mundane stuff. It's like, it's almost like on the manifesto, it's like, I will bring a change in transfer strategy and make sure that we don't sign like players
Anymore, I didn't think Cavani's.
Yeah.
Gallows. I think that there seemed to be a bit of a shift in transfer strategy under Ole.
Yeah.
And then Ronaldo coming in made me go, I don't know what's going on anymore. And not because I think we shouldn't have signed Ronaldo, but just because it didn't make sense alongside who else we'd signed. Like, whether you think they're a good or bad signing or not, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Sancho, Varane, Bruno, Dan James, Diallo, Pellistri, they're all under 28 at the point of purchase. A lot of them are English, Premier League proven to in a lot of instances. That makes sense. But then you go and get world superstar Cavani, world superstar Ronaldo. I don't quite get that. Like 35, 36-year-olds, I don't know what the target is here or what the aim is here. So I don't know what the strategy is, and maybe we do need something that's more coherent.
The Igalo one.
Yeah, the Igalo one was another one.
I found that quite funny, though, to be fair.
I mean, I know,
was
but
funny.
That's what you want from a transfer.
Yeah.
You want humour, Jay.
I know, because in the morning we're in for Josh King, and I was like, why? And then in the evening, you got Odi Igalo knocking on his director's door saying, please let me go to Manchester United. And it's just like, okay, we sort of bought into Igalo.
Sue Cook's pulled out.
Yeah, Sue Cook's pulled out. Said, well, I'll leave. Unbelievable. It's like we all bought into Igalo because he wears United pyjamas and he takes pictures of trees and he's a nice guy and he scored a couple of good goals as well.
Have you seen his Instagram stories?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like he's likable.
Like he literally posts maybe 12 or 13 stories a day.
But that's what I mean.
Mansion
Like
in Saudi Arabia.
My point is, it's
He's
all
bored.
it's nice and all that, but is he a player that's going to help you win trophies? No. And when we needed him in the semi-final, it's not his fault, but he wasn't up to it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that's not a coherent policy of who can we get at 11:30 on transfer deadline day? My agent knows Odi Igalo, who played for Watford 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's get him.
And he's only on 300.
And he's a United
a
fan.
week.
What's that got to do with anything? Do you know what I mean? Like that, it didn't really help us in what we needed.
At least he'll try, unlike half of the players we've got.
But exactly, the bar's so low, and I'm not going to dig at Igalo because, like I said, I did like him, but it just shows there was a lack of planning. Do you know what I mean? This isn't like Fergie being on the phone to Howard Wilkinson or whoever and going, "Oh, let me have Eric." This is like literally, we've run out of options here, and we've got no one else we can get. Let's quickly get someone.
Someone who scored at least 5 goals in the Premier League. We'll get them because we're desperate.
You know, even
2 seasons ago,
even Cavani, and Cavani sort of. Again, won us over with his performances and his cool hero thing. I know it's gone a bit south this season, but he was a free agent who no one really was coming in for because of his wages and his injury record. And it's like we waited and we get him again at the 11th hour. And then you sort of sat in a season later going, we're short. We're short. And I know we've had certain issues that you couldn't predict, but it's like we almost leave ourselves in this situation by a lack of planning where other clubs don't do that. You just mentioned City there. I was watching a bit of the City game yesterday. Like you say, they start with Jesus and Sterling, 2 players who've got loads of goals for him. Sterling obviously gets a goal, and his record over the last 4 or 5 years is ridiculous. Jesus, I think his record in goals and assists is like every other game he gets either a goal or assist. So around that, he's not the greatest, but he's productive. And they bring on Foden and Mahrez. Mahrez, who won the Premier League at Leicester, and his record is ridiculous in terms of goals and assists. They've got options there. They can mix it up a bit. And we've just left ourselves in a situation now where we haven't. And it's like now a new manager's got to come in and he's got to not only rebuild the first 11, but the squad as well.
When's the last time City or Liverpool, or even Chelsea, well, actually, let's take Chelsea out because they haven't won much recently, in the league. When's the last time City or Liverpool signed a player of the age or wages of Cavani or Ronaldo? Or even Igalo? I can't even think of it.
No.
I think
when's the last time they made a signing like that?
Negredo or someone like that?
Yeah,
Or?
what was that, a decade ago?
Yeah,
they just
Negredo was
don't
like
make
2013.
signings like that.
No, they don't, and it's
The
like
closest they've got was getting Thiago on a free. That could have been one of them. You've signed a big player who is, I know he was not, I think it was at 29 or 30, not 35, but you could have maybe said that was a bit of a big name signing.
But Liverpool
even
did
then,
that.
it's not the same, is it?
Players like Wijnaldum, Origi, even Salah, they weren't like world-class players before they signed them. They just.
But it's a plan, innit? It's like it's a plan. Salah fits into this system. He will thrive in this system. Okay, I don't think anyone predicted he was going to score like basically 50 goals a season, but he'll be a success in the system. When they went for Van Dijk, they went for him, didn't get him. They didn't sack it off and go and spend 60 million on someone else. They waited. Like, okay, he's what we want. He's the man we want. We'll wait another transfer window. And then they get him, and then they go and win everything. So I just feel like they've got a plan there. And it's like with just simple things that we just can't seem to do. Like even when we have options and when you think, oh, yeah, we've been linked with this player, we've been linked with that player, for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen. The one that everyone goes on about, and I think you were talking about this with Dejo, was Cancelo. And I think, okay, he comes into this team and he might not do what he's doing at City because the team's struggling. But that's someone being recommended to us, and we don't take it up on it. And
probably Otamendi, I'd say, was the last City player that they signed for a lot of money. And Mangala as well. A couple of players like that just before Guardiola came in.
But even then, they weren't big name signings that we have to get him because of the name. No one, they were a lot of money, but they weren't like Ronaldo's.
And they gave,
the same
Claudio
wages as
Bravo's
Igalo.
probably one that they bought and then replaced.
Yeah.
But then again, they do that. Like, Pep comes in, he has a first season where he don't win anything, they don't really do a lot. Finishes in the Champions League places, everyone's a bit underwhelming. But he's had a good season to look at his team and go, right, these are the players I need. And they back him. And he'd get in, I need new fullbacks. Right, no worries, we'll get it. I need a new keeper. Actually, I need to replace the keeper I've bought. No worries. Do you know what I mean? We need this midfielder, I need this guy. Not a drama. I want to buy Laporte. We can't get him now. Wait, yeah, get him for you. No worries. It's like there's a plan there, and I just don't see it at United. And I hate sitting here, talking about the Scousers and City as examples of what's going right. Abhinav Verma says this Andy guy is a spy. Hire Paul Mitchell. Sorry, I've got another few chats to get into. Callum Shahidi says Poch can't change mentality of United. Look at Spurs, weak-minded and then still weak-minded now. Jose Conte couldn't. They are serial winners, unlike Poch. So he's just saying, he's not a Poch fan, to be honest with you. Frank Lucas says if Ron was scoring for City, you would be different.
But he isn't.
I know,
That's saying if we'd just won the league, I wouldn't have been saying this. Of course I wouldn't.
Akshay S says, along with a new manager and team rebuild would change if captaincy changed the mood of the dressing room. Also, if not Maguire, then who? Bruno?
It might change it by a few percent.
I do think we've got into this thing of...
But it's not that big
of
a
like
deal.
Making the captaincy out like that's going to change loads.
Yeah.
Like if Bruno or Maguire are wearing the armband, or if it's Varane, or if it's De Gea...
Yeah, but it depends. If United sign someone who's a really good leader.
If you sign someone, that's different. That's different than just giving it to someone we've already got.
Out of United's current squad, there's no one in there that's really going to
I don't think if Maguire gives it to Bruno, that makes much of a difference, or if Bruno gives it to Varane, I don't think it does. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're right, if we can... One signing can change the complexion of everything. I'm not saying it will, but, Bruno took us from nowhere near top 4 to getting top 4 and then, finishing second. He was such a catalyst.
Are you not bored, though, of United just qualifying for the top 4?
Of course
and then,
I am.
Getting into, like, the Champions League and then going out in the group stages or the knockout stages. And it's just like, I don't get any enjoyment out of this as a fan of just it's just shit.
I mean, I'm, old enough to remember the dark days when we went 5 years without a trophy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? As a little kid, and now it's like, what we're on for now? 6, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost unheard of.
If we don't win the league.
All we need are severe points deductions for the teams above us.
It's happened before.
Yeah. So we need City and Liverpool to have a big scrap in the middle of the pitch at the Etihad when they play each other.
This weekend,
30 points each. And then Chelsea to do the same.
Did you enjoy your weekend not being ruined by United?
Do you know what it was? I did slightly, but it was tempered somewhat by the fact that Liverpool won, City won, Arsenal won,
Tottenham won. Fucking hell.
And it was just like, and then I'm watching. When I saw City and Liverpool being drawn in the FA Cup semi-final, it reminded me a little bit of 99 with us and Arsenal, because it's like that thing of the two top teams sort of going.
Yeah, but it'll never be as good.
No, it won't.
No,
but it reminded me of it, and I thought that's what they're at now. They're sort of pushing each other and going up against each other. And what are we doing? We're up against trying to chase Arsenal for 4th, and it's just not where you want to be as a fan, and it is frustrating. But you've just got to sort of hold your hands up and say this is where we are. Caleb Dirtle says, just imagine if the 1.2 billion the Glazers took out was put back into OT in Carrington, might have solved some of the issues they are facing today. Maybe, there's so many different sort of things. I just want to talk about it quickly before we move on to Wally of the Week. Gary Neville's made a comment about players going out. And he said that he did a tweet earlier, and I can't find it, but he basically said that if back in the day, if United drew, you wouldn't even have players and executives going.
Take some of your water.
No. Yeah. He said back in the day, if United drew, they wouldn't even go out for an Italian. You wouldn't have execs and players and the manager or whatever, coaches going out, sort of being pictured. And this weekend we've seen people at the cricket, people at the F1, people abroad, Dubai, whatever. And he said it's tone deaf, I think he labelled it. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, and people in the comments as well. Let me know what you think about what Gary Neville said. Does it bother you? Are you outraged? Are you disappointed? Are you any of the above when it comes to players and manager? And because Ralph was at the cricket, wasn't he? A few people were at the F1, I think. The owners were. If anyone cares what they're up to, they don't obviously care about the club. We've had.
I like your tweet, by the way, about them buying the.
Trying to buy the kebab on sick or on loan, to sell back to him or whatever. I'll start with you, James. What do you make of it? Do you care?
Not really, no, because I'm not really sure what else. I mean, it doesn't look good, but then at the same time, like, what else would they have been doing this weekend that would have improved their performance on the pitch? United aren't playing. So there's no point in them just sitting around going, wow, look how shit we are. But then at the same time, if I was in that position, I probably wouldn't share it on social media. But then I don't really see an issue with it personally.
Joe, do you agree with James? I'll get to my comment in a minute.
I don't know. I don't really know what any of it means. Like, does someone going to the football make them less careless or less likely to win the next match? Or I don't know. But there is part of me that thinks, yeah, I understand that maybe if these players were hurt more when they lost, they'd be less likely to be at these events a short time after losing big games. They might still be distraught. Oh, I can't be asked to go. I feel like shit, whatever. And maybe that would be a good thing. But I don't see how someone going out for a drink, or maybe not going for a drink, that's a slightly old-fashioned way of looking at things now, but going to the cricket or going to watch the UFC.
United squad is full of pint drinkers.
No, probably not. Although I'm sure there's probably more than we think. But going to
Harry
the
Maguire,
UFC or going to the cricket, I don't know how that in itself does anything. And if we see it on social media, then that's just a separate world anyway. They're not playing football on social media. I don't care about all that. It's all managed by teams and companies and agents and all that. I don't really care about social media, what footballers say on there. It's just irrelevant to me. So the fact that someone's just gone out for a night with their mates, well, how long are we meant to be sad for? The shit. They know the shit.
Where do you think United would go out in town? If all the United players were together, where do you think they'd choose?
It depends who's leading the way. It'd probably just be somewhere like dead posh, wouldn't it?
I mean, I've not
China
been
White
out.
or something.
Yeah, is it Australasia or is that still a thing? Is
Yeah.
that still open?
That's still a thing.
Yeah. With the Ivy, is that where they all go?
Yeah.
The Ivy.
Or
It's
the
boring though, isn't it?
20 stories.
Get some bit of personality. Get yourself down Peveril of the Peak.
See, I don't know where
it's
it's
Pier
open.
hat.
It's been that-
Get
yeah, it's
yourself
been
in
that
the Pier hat
Yeah.
and get served by a man
Alex Bagley off
who
camera saying
looks
don't.
like no creature I've ever seen in my life. He's one of the best bars in
Have
Manchester.
you been to Gulliver's?
Of course.
Yeah.
Get yourself down Gulliver's.
Actually, I was in the Grey Horse the other week, right? And
There you go, get to the Grey Horse.
Chris was amazing.
I love
Genuinely,
Chris, by the way, the Grey Horse.
And,
Big shout out to him. Top guy.
Have you met Howard before?
Of course I have.
Amazing. He was in there, he's like a local celebrity. Really. They've got a big cardboard cut out of him now that they take out.
Have you got the Grey? Have you been to the Grey Horse?
Yeah, I've been in the past.
It's well, I love Chris and Howard is hilarious.
I don't know everyone there.
It's like a little pub that you can go in. Or where is it? It's not on
Portland Street.
Portland Street.
It's
Yeah,
right next to. Is it the Old Monkey?
yeah. But I mean, this sort of argument bores me a little
What
bit.
do you think, yeah?
I don't get that annoyed when I see these players at the F1 or the manager at the cricket or they're abroad or whatever. And I think you can't have it both ways. There you go. There's the quote from Gary Neville. Thank you, production team. So you can see that he's saying, I remember a time when United players, managers, executives wouldn't be seen in their local Italian after a draw at home, let alone getting knocked out of Europe. The last week, we've seen a global tour of F1, concerts, cricket, and UFC events. This lot are tone deaf. For starters, I think, is that true? I remember I've seen players out and about in town after all sorts of results before, so I don't know if that's true.
Not
if
to
I'm being
try and
honest.
quote Gary Lineker because I'm not a particular fan of his, but he mentioned about players in the past would have just gone to the pub instead and been, spoken to by journalists and paparazzi and all that stuff. It's like
United had a pretty big drinking culture that was well known when they weren't winning stuff. Especially players like Brian Robson could handle it, but of course people used to go out all the time, and even. Brian Clough used to tell his players to drink the night before to ease their nerves for a big match. So
I mean, it doesn't outrage me in the way that it does some. And I know Gary Neville's he's posted this. He's had almost 30,000 likes, 2,500 retweets, almost 2,000 quotes. So a lot of people agreeing with it. A lot of people in the replies agreeing with it. There's a lot of anger. There's a picture of Marcus Rashford, Brandon Williams at some MTK global event. I mean, I get annoyed with the performance of the pitch, but I don't expect players to be sobbing, walking down the street sobbing hysterically, or to be sat under the bed crying or watching videos of the game. I don't mind them having a life and doing things.
People
It
forget,
doesn't bother me.
It's their job. Do you know what I mean? If you didn't have a good day at work, right, and you went into town afterwards, you wouldn't have someone come up to you going, "Oh, you've not done very well today. Why are you here?"
Yeah, and also with football, you can't just run more to get back in form. It's not like, I'm not going to go out tonight, I'm just going to sprint for 3 hours instead. They've got such, finely tuned regimes that they're following.
Yeah.
As long as they're still doing that and it's not, affecting sleep or affecting concentration, whatever, fine. But I just think you can't say I'm not going to UFC tonight, I'm just going to lift loads of weights all night.
That treadmill won't turn on itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Alex Hughes doesn't agree. He says, Jesus Christ, what happened to our fan base? How about they start working their ass off on the training pitch? How much are they getting paid again? So that's
a different point, though, isn't it? I think when they're on the training pitch, work your arse off. You're being paid a fuck boatload of money, you should try as hard as you can. But that doesn't mean never do anything other than train. You can overtrain. You can, wallow in the pain so much that you ruin your mental health. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I get annoyed with some of the performances, but I don't think the two are connected. I don't think they're performing badly on the pitch because when they've had time off, they've gone and watched the cricket.
Yeah, if that UFC fight was during a training session and they've not turned up, fair enough. That's awful.
But I understand all
when
that.
They're not at work.
Would you then post that on your social media? I know it's not you doing it personally, but
no, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
if that was me, I'd live a life, but I wouldn't be posing all over social media if United were this shit. I'd take a bit of a backseat.
I think the social media for United has become a massive issue. I think people are just getting the back up because of what they're seeing on socials. And I think there's a few players who can probably have a word with the team because it's not them sat there posting, is it? And just say, listen.
Well, I mean, Neville said it before. Players should probably run their own Twitter accounts.
I think they would. You know what? You can judge the mood and you know what's going on. David Jones says, do you think the Chelsea cash being flashed by so many different billionaires might make the Glazers seriously consider selling? Yeah, the Chelsea has apparently got about 30 potential buyers.
There's just going to be another billionaire, isn't it, that buys them?
And the reason they've got so many buyers is because it's not like they haven't really got anything to fight against. They have to sell the club. Like, as it stands currently anyway, Abramovich has to sell it. So it's a lot easier of a purchase than it is if you're negotiating with
I don't really understand Chelsea fans getting upset about it either, because it's like, well, you accepted him to become your owner with everything that came with it, so you can't.
Oh, they've had untold riches.
It's like
they've seen things that they never thought they'd see. I remember Chelsea before he took over there, and they were they were kicking around in quarterfinals, winning the odd trophy, absolutely buzzing to win the League Cup or whatever.
Did he qualify for the Champions League though?
Yeah, they did, but it's not like they were back-to-back titles and winning 2 Champions Leagues and record amount of points and buying the likes of Claude Makelele and over until he came in. So I think yes, they had relative sorts of. It's like City, 8th or whatever. They were nowhere near until the new owners came in. So I think
the Auto Glass era.
And they're also, they're always kind of on borrowed time, weren't they? Like there seems to me a feeling with all of these owners that have got anywhere between questionable and terrible human rights records, that at some point that might catch you out. It's like, doing base jumping every weekend. Occasionally the parachute doesn't open. And I think Chelsea fans have had 15 years of this now where they've basically gotten away with it. They've changed how football is run in England, and eventually it's caught up to them like it was always going to. You can't be upset or surprised. This is what happens when you get in bed with the people that get in bed with.
It's happened with smaller clubs though before, but I think because it's Chelsea, they won't be allowed to sort of unravel in the same way that clubs like Malaga, like Malaga, for example, who got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League with an owner who was very dodgy, shall we say, and they're now in administration, languishing in Segunda because the money was very questionable as to where it came from.
Was that the team with Isco in it that did?
Yeah,
really well?
So they're basically they were lower than Chelsea. They were basically a yo-yo side, and then this Qatari owner came in. Bought Van Nistelrooy, Isco, Caballero, had Pellegrini's manager, just spent loads and loads of money. Actually should have got to the semi-finals of the Champions League, had an offside goal that was ruled out, but players went literally within a season of qualifying for the Champions League, they were literally in the Champions League and their own players were going unpaid. And then they all left, and then they just about survived for a few years, and then went down. I think 2018. But yeah, they're in.
But that won't happen to Chelsea because their revenue is so high.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They'll be able to carry on.
There's a few quotes. I'm just going to whiz through these. Got a few quotes and get to Wally of the week. There's a few quotes that have dropped from. I think this is from Melissa Reddy, who's gone over. She was at the Indy, wasn't she?
Aren't you blocked by it?
No, that's you're thinking of Sam Queck, who blocked me because she wrote what I can only describe as a completely out of order article on Paul Pogba, which was full of just absolute nonsense. And when I literally screenshotted it and said that where you're getting this from is not true. He's not the laziest player in the league, and that sort of language is just not helpful. She blocked me, which is no great loss. So Matt pointed out some spelling mistakes in the article as well, and some grammatical errors.
That's what people like to hear, isn't it? Not only is what you've said shit,
I did say this is much better than usual articles because there's only 5 spelling mistakes in it. That's a compliment. If you don't want to take that as a compliment, that's your problem, not mine.
Someone's not getting invited onto a question of sport.
Thank God. Anyway, she's talking here for Sky. She's not on Sky now. She said, United have still not internally outlined the nature of Rangnick's consultancy role, but it is not envisioned to be very hands-on. No meetings have taken place as yet with Rangnick regarding the design of his future position. And there's the notion that Rangnick could operate as a loose version of a sporting director at United has been labelled hugely unlikely. And then it's also she goes on to say, sources have intimated Rangnick's role at United, in all probability, will be centred around sharing insights on innovation, scouting, and linking United with bright football minds, rather than fundamentally altering the setup.
Bright football minds.
So, I mean, you know,
remember that time Bright Football Minds was the top scorer in the fucking Premier League?
it's proper blue sky thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like Tony Blair.
This is
blue sky thinking that you like, to which you've never seen before, and it's this kind of innovation which will take us to the next level. What?
Building for a better future.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ralph Rangnick.
It's just nonsense. It's word salad.
It's like saying, "Oh, I'll definitely stay friends with my ex." It's like it's not going to happen. Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll stay all right. Ralph, don't worry. When you've left, we'll still chat. We'll still be mates. We'll go out for dinner. It's not going to happen, is it?
It's got Liam Fraser joined us in the studio.
We're going to get on to Wally of the week. We put the question into the chat before. Have you two finished?
No, actually.
We're discussing
interrupting us.
We're discussing indie landfill bans again.
I hate that you call it indie landfill.
Okay.
It's a disrespectful term. Call it indie bliss.
Indie blandfill.
Don't call it
Nice.
bland, Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil, you're bland. Got it wrong.
Wow.
I went for it and I got it wrong.
Promises.
You're in a landfill.
On Telegram earlier, on our members chat, we asked for your Wallies of the week to send him in. Liam McManaman, that's an unfortunate surname, says Jermaine Jenas for saying he played against Emerson at Borough in the 2000s, except Emerson left in 98. Well said there. Caleb Deet says, got to be PSG as a whole. That squad was embarrassed by Monaco after being recently knocked out of the Champions League, which they were favourites to win.
The thing is, though, they're still, I think, 13 points clear in the league, aren't they? So they're
Doesn't
basically,
matter, does it?
they're giving up as much as they can while still winning the league.
Yeah.
They're all on so much.
Like, you know, on like career mode on FIFA where you just sim matches because you can't be bothered.
They
to
are
play
simming
them.
matches now.
Yeah.
No, do you know on Football Manager, Poch go on holiday.
Yeah.
He's gone on holiday. I'll come back in the season. I'll probably
Yeah.
still win it by about 3 points.
Tom says Lampard for taking lessons off Jose for throwing his players under the bus.
You love Lampard, don't you, Jay?
I love
You
him.
think he's a top manager as well, don't you?
I think he's a comedy genius.
Go on.
Like, no, the thing that he does where he's laughing and he goes, "That's serious."
Yeah.
Like that is.
He must know he's doing that.
He does it every interview. He's like, it's amazing. I love the old core blimey governor attitude that he's got. I love him. Keep him there forever. Gary said Arteta for crying about game congestion despite playing one game a week. Yeah.
What is it, 11 games in the last 10 weeks and he's whinging?
Thanks for everyone who sent in those Wally of the weeks. Good suggestions.
Like, do you remember when United played 2 games in 2 days?
Yeah. It was in 2000. Well, in 91, 92, wasn't it, when we lost the league? We played something like 5 games in 10 days or something. It was stupid.
It's fun, that,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's great as a
That
fan.
cost us the league. Go on then. Who's your Wally of the week?
I don't know, Jay. So why have you asked me that?
Thank
It's
you.
very hard.
It's almost like you didn't have 5 minutes then to discuss it instead of
I've been
talking
thinking
about landfill.
No, here's the thing, Jay. I've been thinking about it for 2 hours. Who my Wally of the week is, and I
Okay.
can't. Do you know who it is? Actually, it's just Man United generally. Because, like you said earlier, James, I've enjoyed the last weekend of us not playing more than pretty much any weekend in living memory.
Yeah.
It's better to not watch us than it is to watch us at the moment. That's just a shit situation to be in for what is such a successful and brilliant club. At the minute, international break is my favourite time of the year. I used to hate it. So Man United are my Wally of the week.
Okay, I can't
Wally
really-
of the decade.
I can't really argue with that. James, who are you going to go for? Who's your Wally?
The cyclist earlier that didn't stop at the traffic lights and nearly hit someone's car.
Nearly?
Yeah,
What a
nearly.
dickhead.
And then got off his bike. So, have you ever ridden a bloody bicycle before? It's like,
He
well,
said that about it
Yeah.
when he got knocked
Yeah.
off his bike. Was he talking to himself?
No, he nearly hit someone's car, slammed the brakes on, got off his bike and went. And the other guy got out of his car and he went, "Have you never ridden a bloody bicycle before in your life? Do you know how hard it is to stop?" It's like, well,
Interesting.
Flipping cyclist.
Do you like? Can you ride a bike?
Yeah, I've ridden several.
Have you?
Yeah.
I can't imagine you riding a bike. Can you ride one?
Yeah, of course I can. I've taught my kids how to ride a bike. Of course I can ride a bike.
but what annoys me
Defended
is,
it a
and I
lot.
saw this on the weekend.
Jay, how many wheels has the bike
Right.
got?
Several.
All right. So what? Right.
If you go to the circus, they've got one.
What has? Their bike.
Yeah, their bikes.
It's just a. It's not a bike though, is it? It's a Unike.
Unicycle.
Yeah, you've got like one there, and then the 2 at the side.
No, that's a go kart.
Yeah.
Jay doesn't know what a bike is. Jay thinks it's a car.
Well, what do
You
you
got
think
two of
people
the front, two
the
at the back.
stabilisers,
What do you
I
think
think
people
they call
it.
that don't use the cycle lanes properly? Because on the weekend, I was walking down. You know that.
My
You know
God,
how.
this
You know how narrow.
conversation is
No
just-
one loves local admin more than James.
Hey.
This is for the council
We're-
meeting you're going to after the podcast.
We're 2 steps away from talking about the pedestrianisation of Norwich
Mr. Burnham,
Centre.
the cycle
Anyway,
lanes in the city
I mean,
centre.
it's just completely out of order.
Yeah.
I bet you've got an opinion on the clean air zone.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Which we're going to share on a special 4-hour edition of the
show
Paddock
you my
podcast.
clean air zone
when
in a
I'm
minute,
not
pal, if you
in.
do.
Yeah.
Come on, who's your Wally of the week?
I'm going to go. I don't want to get political,
We
but
do this every week.
I'm going to go with Sajid Javid, who went on telly this morning doing the media rounds and then said that Boris Johnson didn't say the thing we've all seen that he did say about Ukraine and Brexit. And I just think they just lie constantly. And then they say that thing he said he didn't say. And then he said every normal person can see he didn't say it. So everyone's abnormal for watching what they've seen. It's just ridiculous. It just does me in. I'm just deflated with them
And
all.
yet you'll still vote for him next time, won't you, Joe? His track record speaks for itself.
Well, until you give me a better option.
They're all just as bad as each other.
Yeah, exactly. Lesser of two evils. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 on Instagram and Twitter, or in Rome for the next 4 days if anyone's interested.
And he will be documenting that on his Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he will be sending us some pictures for our Instagram
Yes.
as
Don't annoy him because he is on holiday. So
well. No, he's not. There's no holiday on here.
Yeah.
All right. Do you know what I mean? Go on.
yeah, I'm on Twitter at James Young TV, and yeah.
Have you not got a magazine to plug?
Well, no, because that mag is no longer on sale, and because United aren't playing this weekend, I didn't bring it because you can't buy it anymore. So next edition.
Excuses.
Oh,
Never happened in my day. In my day, I used to go on YouTube every week when I used to sell United We Stand, even though it
Yeah.
didn't exist.
I
Where
know.
can people
The-
find you, Jay?
The internet wasn't even a thing. People can find me, Jay Motta, you know where I'm back on Twitter now after my hiatus for copyright breaches.
Someone is going to burn for that, aren't they? Who is it, Jay?
Your cronies at Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay rallied the troops, didn't he?
I didn't actually.
Excuse me, guys. I've been taken off of Twitter. The thing you said would never happen. Like Julius Caesar, weren't you?
Ask yourself,
Betrayed.
do you want Twitter without me on it?
You and Donald
That's
Trump.
the question. And
Yeah.
quite a lot of people said they did. Yeah. So this has been the Paddock Podcast. Thanks to James Young. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the comments. Thanks to everyone as well who sent in their questions for their suggestions. For Wally of the week. We will try and reach out to you guys more often as well. And thanks for watching.